Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Chapter 10, The Opulence of the Absolute. Text 1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bhuya eva Mahabahu Shrunu me Paramam Vachaha Yatteham Priyamanyaya Vakshyami Hita Kamyaya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Listen again, O mighty armed Arjuna, because you are my dear friend, for your benefit I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained.
Next verse.
Text 2. Na me vidu shuragana prabhavam na maharsayah aham adirhi devana maharsinam sa sarvasaha. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages.
Okay, next verse.
Text 3. Yo mam ajam anadim cha veti loka maheshwaram asamudah samartyesu sarva papai pramuchyate. He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme lord of all the worlds, he only undiluted among men is freed from all sins.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So in chapter 9, we got the most confidential knowledge. Krishna revealed a lot of wonderful things, ending with that wonderful verse. Let me just quickly go to it. Chapter 9, last verse. Let me do a little recap. So I was recently in Hyderabad, and I was fortunate to visit the the Statue of Equality of Ramanujacharya, and he has so his current the Acharya, he has created this 108 Divyadeshams in that place around Ramanujacharya's statue deity. And there I was like, there's what a great opportunity to see the Lord in various forms of all the different Divyadeshams, including Balaji and Vrindavan and everything else, Varadaraj Swami and all that. So I was like, okay, so I was actually just thinking, meditating on this particular verse the whole time. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evase yukta vaivam atmanam mat parayana. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisance to me, and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you'll come to me. So there's a last verse of chapter 9, and it is the secret to one's access to the spiritual world. It's not hard. Your mind engaged in me. So when I was looking at all the deities, left, right, and center, there's four-armed Narayana form. And I'm like, wow, how can you not think of Krishna in such an environment? Right? This is so nice. Everywhere you look, there is a Supreme Lord. It's like Vrindavan. Everywhere you look, there's a temple. There is Shri Radhe, written on every tree, every person, every rickshawala is saying Shri Radhe, 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 right? So everywhere is like Krishna consciousnus. So engage your mind thinking of me, become my devotee, right? Which we are all in the practice of. Offer your obeisances to me. So Dandavat Pranam, right? And worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you'll come to me. So how to go to Golok Vrindavan? This is how you go to Golok Vrindavan. How you go to spiritual world? This is the process. So it's not very hard. So after explaining all the complicated things, Krishna makes it really simple. And that's how he ends chapter 9. And then in chapter 10, Krishna is saying that, whatever I've shared. So let's quickly look through the English. He's saying the Supreme Lord said, listen again, O mighty Arjuna, because you're my dear friend, for your benefit, I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I've already explained. So in the confidential knowledge, Krishna has given some very wonderful things. And he's saying, Manmana bhavamad bhakto, right? Always think of me. Now in this chapter 10, Krishna is going to allow us the tools. He's going to give us the tools with which we can always manmana bhava mad bhakto. We can think of Krishna, because here Krishna specifically gives 72 different opulences of himself, with which he says it's just a spark of my opulence. But he gives 72 different things. He says, I am this and I am that and I am this and I am that, not to brag, but to help us with that one verse, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto. So we can remember Krishna whenever we are thinking of something, we are looking at something, we're tasting something, we're like, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Right? Whenever I drink water, I've told you guys, right? I always sing Rasoham Apsakontia, which is coming up in this chapter 10. So Krishna says, I'm the taste in water. So when I'm very thirsty and I'm like, this is so satisfying. I'm like, this is how Krishna is, right? The taste in water is Krishna. So like that, I'm the source of the sun and the moon. So Krishna allows us to remember him when we see the sunset, sunrise, moonset, moonrise, full moon, new moon. Like, Krishna is the source of the sun and the moon. So we see beauty, we see the ability in man, we see our woman, we see anything. Krishna is allowing us. You see a shark, even Krishna is saying of all the fish, right? So he's describing himself, how he's the best among everything in this chapter 10, 72 different ways. He's giving us tools to meditate on him, so that when we see them, we can remember Krishna. So Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto, let's keep that as the basis of chapter 10. And then he's saying, I'm going to explain further, right, in more details, so that one can practice that Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto verse, right? Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. So that's what chapter 10 is all about. So here Krishna is saying that, my dear, because you're my friend. So this is again a secret. This is still confidential knowledge. Why? Because it is not available to demons. It is not available to non-devotees. It is not available to people who can read it but won't get it. That's a mystery. Only one who has a relationship with the Supreme Lord or his devotees will have access to this knowledge, because otherwise this just looks like very bragocious. He's like, Krishna is really bragging. Wow, he's really proud of himself. Is he proud of himself? Let me ask you a question. Is Krishna really proud of himself? Is he a proud person? Or is he a humble person? Little bit that we know about Krishna.
Very humble.
When you're humble?
Yes.
Okay. Who else thinks otherwise?
Me too, Prabhuji.
You think Krishna is humble? And he spends a
Yes.
whole chapter talking about himself.
No, I don't think so. I think he's very flamboyant.
He's both. That's the beauty of Krishna.
I think
Right?
he reacts based on the opposite person. If he wants to do it, he will.
See, only Krishna as God can be humble and proud at the same time. Here is how. What is humility? Humility is not fake thing like, I'm really fallen. Oh, I'm really bad. I'm really sinful and all that. Humility is honesty. That, you know what? I'm insignificant. I'm tiny. But I have been given some gifts. I'm going to use it in Lord's service. Let's say that's one aspect of humility. Pride is what? Talking about, I have this gift. I'm a good singer. I'm a good this. I'm a good mridanga player. Now, in Krishna's case, he can say both and be proud and humble at the same time, right? Because achintya, bheda, abheda tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference, right? So contradictions exist within Krishna simultaneously. So when Krishna says, I am the best among everything, I am the source of the sun and the moon, it is truth. It is actually humble of him to say that, because it's truth. Humility is truth. It is also pride, because he is talking about something that is, his opulence. So he's being humble and prideful, or being proud at the same time, and it's honesty. And he's doing that because he starts the chapter by saying, because you're my friend, Arjun, I'm sharing this with you, right? Again, he says that before also. Bhaktosi me sakha cheti, you're my devotee and you're my friend. That's why I'm sharing with you this confidential knowledge at the beginning of chapter 9. That's what Krishna says. Here also he's saying the same thing. So like he says, Bhaktosi me sakha cheti. Here also he's saying, because you're my dear friend. forgive me. My best friend is calling me as I'm speaking. So, so Krishna is telling Arjuna, because you're my dear friend, he's sharing this, because sometimes we have to be, when something good happens to you, it's hard to find a person who is equally happy for you for your good news. You get a promotion, or you get a funding if you're a startup, or you get something good happens to you. It's hard to find somebody who will be happy for you. Most people will be like, oh, good, congratulations. In their mind, they'll be like, wow, this fellow is moving up in life, right? They're envious. In Krishna's case also, because we are in the material world, the qualification to be here is to be envious of Krishna, right? So by default, everybody's envious of Krishna. So Krishna cannot talk about himself as God very openly. But because Arjuna is not envious of Krishna, he's a friend of Krishna. With him, he can speak about his godly affairs. Like Srila Prabhupada, he wouldn't talk about his miraculous powers with everybody, right? He wouldn't even give his name out there. He'll just say Hare Krishna, let Krishna be glorified. But with Indradimna Maharaj or certain devotees, Giriraj Maharaj, who are very dear to him, very close to him, Prabhupada would share certain secrets about himself that he otherwise wouldn't. And same with us. If there's something to be proud of, we don't talk to people who are envious of us. We talk to people who love us and who will be equally happy for us, right? And that's very, very important that we do. We don't want to create enemies. When good things are happening, we don't want to go out shouting out loud, because it creates more enemies, people backstabbing and all of that. Especially in India, it happens a lot, right? So it's important that we learn this lesson from Krishna. He's sharing his heart and talking about, bragging about himself in one sense, is because it is with a dear friend who will understand who Krishna is. He's he's as humble as it gets. And he's talking because it's for the benefit of Arjuna, right? Because his devotee has to remember him. Krishna is giving, here are the tools how you can remember me. So it's not, to make himself look good. He doesn't have to look good. He's Atma Rama. Atma Rama means self-satisfied. Krishna doesn't need Radharani to be satisfied. Krishna doesn't need us to be satisfied. Krishna doesn't need anybody to be satisfied. He is self-satisfied. That's one of the aspects of God, or the characteristics of God. He's Atma Rama. Nevertheless, he likes to see us happy. And as a result, he likes to share with us things that will make us happy in relationship with him. And this verse, that's why it's the middle of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita has 6 chapters. So the outside 6 chapters are okay with outsiders, but the middle 6 chapters, right? Those are for devotees. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's the core, the bhakti part. So here Krishna is sharing about himself because it is for devotees and he can be himself. Like Gaur Gopal Prabhu, he has become a celebrity now. But devotees have known him for a very long time, and he has very intimate relationship with many, many devotees. So I was hearing from one of my friends in Hyderabad. He was saying Gaur Gopal Prabhu came and he said, do you want to record this session? Then I will speak, in the public area. If you want me to speak from my heart, then I'll speak in the private area where no recording devices would be allowed. And devotees said, no, we want to hear from your heart. So let's go to the private area where we can hear from you. Why? Because again, now that he is a celebrity, every word he says has to be very, very measured and calculated. Otherwise, people can take that, twist it around, and write negative things about him. What to speak of God, who is the most famous person, right? So he has to be very, very... Yes, Janak Prabhu? You want to say something? Okay, that was just... All right. So the next verse, text 2, Krishna is saying, neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulence, for in every respect, I am the source of the demigods and the sages. So if Krishna is the source of the demigods and the sages, how can you know your source? Right? Unless the source decides to let you know about him. So it is not possible for a subset to know the superset. Unless, in this case, the Supreme Lord, like in our case, why do we say realizations are so important? Because realizations are gifts from Krishna. Krishna is not knowable, but he becomes knowable when he gives us realizations about himself. Gyan becomes Vigyan, realized knowledge. So when theoretical knowledge becomes realized knowledge, we know, I know a little bit more about Krishna. Now I get how Krishna functions. Now I get how Krishna does certain things. What is his nature, right? How cool is it to know the nature of God? To most people, God is unknowable, right? To us, we know God's nature. We know his pastimes. We know what he likes, what he doesn't like, his name, address, girlfriend's names, everything, right? We know a lot about Krishna's Facebook profile. And that's wonderful. And what to speak of knowing his traits and how he functions. That's what saves us during difficult times. When we know, Krishna is like this. He won't just let me go. He will help me through. That is his nature, Bhaktavatsala. So Krishna is there. Somehow he's helping through, right? I just have to see Krishna's hands in the process. Okay. So sages and demigods not necessarily know Krishna. That's why when they have a problem, the demigods go to Lord Brahma, right? And then Lord Brahma takes them to the milk ocean. That's the protocol. And then milk ocean is, Shirodaksha Vishnu is lying down, and there Lord Brahma speaks to Shirodaksha Shirodaksha Vishnu from his heart, and Lord Vishnu responds to his heart, and then Lord Brahma tells the demigods, this is what the Supreme Lord has spoken, right? So that's the protocol, because Lord Brahma is a pure devotee, so he has direct access to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, when Prahlad Maharaj story happened, Narsinghadev came in, killed Hiranyakashipu. There, even Lord Brahma didn't approach Hiranyakashipu. Lord Brahma asked Prahlad Maharaj to approach, Lord Brahma didn't approach Narsinghadev. He approached Prahlad Maharaj to approach Narsinghadev. Because you are a pure devotee and Narsinghadev came specifically for you. So you go and pacify the Supreme Lord. Because before that, the demigods had given the, what's that prayer called? So the demigods prayed to please the Lord. Anybody knows the name? I'm forgetting. Anyway, so demigods have beautiful prayers, that glorify the personality of Godhead. And Narsinghadev was still angry. So angry that, the nostrils, the air that was coming out, Ganesh came in his little mouse and he got flown away by the air. Narsinghadev was so angry. So he was not being pacified by the prayers of the demigods because, they're not pure devotees. They're devotees, they're sattvic. And Lord Brahma could understand, even, my prayers won't work here. So Prahlad, who is a pure devotee, completely surrendered and dependent on the personality of Godhead, he can only satisfy the Lord. And when Prahlad Maharaj prayed to Narsinghadev, Narsinghadev pacified and put his lotus paws on the head of Prahlad Maharaj and blessed him. So coming back, it is important to understand that demigods and sages also don't understand the personality of Godhead. But Krishna says, who can understand me? He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the Supreme Lord of all the worlds. He only, undiluted among men, is freed from all sins, right? So, person who understands Krishna as God, like Lord Brahma, when he saw first time Krishna, boy Krishna, with all the gopas and everything, Krishna was holding buttermilk in his hand, and he was literally putting his finger like this and putting it in his mouth and eating like that. And Lord Brahma was like, oh, hell no. There is no way in hell this person is my father, the personality of Godhead, the Supreme Lord Narayan. There is no way he eats like that. Because Lord Narayan is very, very polished, right? With all the jewelry and in a certain posture, and there's Lakshmi Devi around him. He is very poised. And Krishna is like butter going in his mouth. And it's like, Lord Brahma is like, no way, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whatever doubts I had, gone. I'm going to now steal these boys and take them up and all that. So even Lord Brahma got deluded, right? And that's the thing. So Prahlad Maharaj is actually higher. So it's considered pure devotees are higher than the demigods. Demigods pay respects to pure devotees. And Prahlad Maharaj was such a pure devotee. So he said, he who knows me as unborn and the beginningless, as the Supreme Lord of all the worlds, He only, undiluted among men, is freed from all sins. Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearfulness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy. All these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. And here Krishna starts, right? So he begins talking. So I'm going to get that a little later. Let me focus more on text 3 a little bit. So Krishna's mentioning unborn, right? So that means a lot of times people say that, oh, how can Krishna be God? He has parents, Devaki, Vasudev, right? He is born from them. So how can God have parents? So God doesn't have parents. He appears in the present self. That's why we say on Janmashtami Day, we said Abirbhav Tithi. We don't say birthday. Many times we say happy birthday to Krishna, and those are like memes that go around. But in the devotional way, we say Abirbhav Tithi, which means Abirbhav means one who descends, right? He has appeared on this planet, appearance day of the Supreme Lord. And Krishna also says a few chapters back that Janma karma me divyam yo janati tattvataha. Same thing he says. Those who know my divine janma, my appearance, karma, my activities, such a person doesn't take birth again. Tyakta devam punarjanmana vidyate. That person who knows my janma and karma, my divine appearance and my activities. And what are those activities of Krishna? Anybody remembers? What are the two things Krishna comes from majorly? Every yoga?
Paritrana sadhunam and vinasha duskritam.
Very good, Prayash. Yes. So paritrana sadhunam, to liberate, to help the sadhus, the devotees, and to destroy the miscreants. So he keeps coming back yoga after yoga in different forms to do this particular thing. Lord Ramachandra killed so many demons. Why? Because those demons were not allowing the sadhus to do sacrificial rituals. Lord Krishna killed so many demons who were after all kinds of causing menace in society. The whole Mahabharata war battlefield happened. The Kurukshetra battle happened to create to support the devotees and to destroy the miscreants, right? So that is the karma. So janma karma me divyam. So in Kali Yuga, what is happening? The holy name, because we are all miscreants, so Krishna cannot just destroy the entire planet. So as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gives the holy name. Kali Kale Nam Rupe Krishna Avatar. Right? In the age of Kali, Lord Krishna comes in the form of his holy name. And the holy name, instead of killing the demons, is killing the demoniac tendencies within the heart. So as we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the demoniac tendencies within the heart gets destroyed. Cheto darpana marjanam mahadhavadavagni nirvapanam. So the Cheto Darpana, the consciousness, the mirror of consciousness is being cleaned. Just like a mirror is dirty, you clean it, you can see your face. So consciousness of the mind or the consciousness is being cleaned through the holy name, right? The dirt, as it's moved, one can see one's constitutional position. That is part and parcel of Krishna. What's my constitutional position? I am part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna says that aham bija pradapitaha, I am the seed-giving father. You're a spark of me. All right. So now let's go to text 4 and 5. Somebody wants to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Text 4. Buddhir jnanam asammoha kshama satyam dhamah samaha sukham dukkham bhavo bhayam cha bhayam eva cha ahimsa samata tustistapo dhanam yaso yasaha bhavanti bhava bhutana mata eva prathagvidah. Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy. All these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone.
All right. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the different qualities of living entities, be they good or bad, are all created by Krishna, and they're described here. So fame and infamy, polar opposites, created by Krishna. Fear and fearlessness, polar opposites, created by Krishna. So we have to understand whatever we have within us is coming from Krishna. There is no other source. Now one might say, then why are people so cruel and this and that, right? So when we take it in the material realm, things become different, right? For example, lemon is wonderful, milk is wonderful. Lemon and milk together curdles up, right? So love in the spiritual world is wonderful. But when it comes in contact with material energy, it becomes lust. And then it becomes selfish. It becomes about exploitation. It becomes about something else. So whatever Krishna has in the spiritual realm, it's a wonderful thing. The highest love is between Krishna and the gopis. Krishna being the supreme source and gopis being his energies, who are apparently married to other men. In this world, that's the worst thing you could do. Flirt with other people's wives, right? What to speak of your own wife. So all that we have within us, we have to understood it all comes from Krishna. Now, how we use it is our responsibility. We shouldn't just be like blame game. Oh, okay, I am feeling addiction to this and that. So, well, it's coming from Krishna. It must be divine, and that's okay. No. The power to get over that addiction is also there. Krishna can be addicted to something or not. He can choose to steal. He can choose to not steal. He can choose to lie. He can choose to not lie. He has the power over it, right? So even that is within us, the ability to be fearful and the ability to be fearless. Both are there within us, right? So all these qualities that Krishna has by inheritance is within us, and Krishna is saying it, that mind happiness, right? Mind forgetfulness, delusion, truthfulness, all of the things that we know. So here Prabhupada describes all of these in the purport in a lot of details. But in short, Krishna Prabhupada explained, asam moha, freedom from doubt and delusion can be achieved when one is not hesitant, that he understands the transcendental philosophy. So there would be apparent contradiction in our mind. Oh, how is this possible? How can Krishna be this and that? Like when I asked you, is Krishna proud? Some of you said yes, some of you said no. When you said Krishna is humble, you said yes, some of you said no. So both are there. And then there is confusion. What is right? What is happening? Contradiction. And that's because of our not understanding it, right? So when we don't, because this is a very high subject matter. So when we don't understand it, we feel there's a contradiction. When we understand it, then we see, this is how it comes together in the larger context of things, right? So slowly but surely, he becomes free from bewilderment. When we understand transcendental philosophy, then we understand, this is how this works. Nothing should be accepted blindly. So Prabhupada is not saying we should accept blind philosophy. No, we should use our intelligence to understand what is being given here. Everything should be accepted with care and with caution. Very, very important. Care and caution. Care because it's coming from Bhagavad Gita, it's Krishna's words. Caution because there's every chance to misunderstand it, take it out of context. So if there's a doubt, ask somebody who knows. Yes, Janak Prabhu, go ahead. Please ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanavad Pranam. So, Prabhuji, this is, of course, I mean, as you are already told, there are apparent contradictions.
Apparent, yeah.
Yeah. So, the same question, I mean, that is the ultimate question probably a lot of us have, and I have, which prevents me from probably progressing also in material life. It's like the same things. If bad qualities or what we perceive bad is coming from Krishna, but at the same time, we all know, and I think accept that Krishna is perfect. So, I mean, that same contradiction. So, how can bad qualities come from perfection? So
it's like internet. It's like internet. Internet, is it good or bad? It's nothing. It's how you use it. Is lust good or bad? It's how you use it, right? So is money good or bad? It's how you use it.
I see.
That's what it is. The qualities are there. How you use it, how you use the intelligence to apply it, that's different.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay, Prabhu. Yes. That's an insight. Thanks.
Anybody wants to add to that insight?
Prabhuji, one thing you mentioned that like material world is a direct reflection of the spiritual world, like the
Inverted
higher
reflection of the spiritual.
inverted reflection. Like the higher qualities there are lower qualities here, and higher qualities here are lower qualities there. Would you would you elaborate that to Janak to a little bit? So I think you'll have more clarity on that.
You do it.
I just you can do it better. Yes, I just know about that much.
Yeah, certainly. Like I use the word lust, right? The gopis had came to Krishna. Wow, such a beautiful boy. They were like completely enamored. Radharani was like hardly able to breathe when she saw Krishna. It's like, whoa, what kind of charm is that? Like, please find out who this is, right? So what is that? It's a boy girl love. Now it is for Krishna. That's the difference versus it is for somebody else, right? When it's for Krishna, Krishna is all attractive by nature. What to speak of gopis for Krishna? Lord Ramachandra, when he was going through the Dandaka forest, the 16,000 sages, right? They were attracted to the Lord. Even though they were in a man's body, they were attracted to the Lord, and they were completely sense controlled. Just understand this for a second. They're not lusty people. They're purest of pure people doing fire sacrifice, and they're looking at Lord Ramachandra as like, we want to get married to you. Like, what? What's happening? Because it is not the same kind of thing we have for bodily lust. Supreme Lord is supremely spiritual, and the pure devotees have spiritual attraction for the Supreme Lord, right? So Krishna dancing with the gopis is not the gopis' bodies. The gopis' bodies are with their husbands. The soul left the body and they come to Rasa Leela. And the Supreme Lord is the soul. He's also spiritual. He doesn't have a physical body like us. It's a spiritual body, although it's visible and perceivable, but it's a spiritual body. It's made up of Satchidananda. It's not made up of blood, pus, urine, and all that, right? So to understand this is difficult, but at least we can appreciate the fact that this is God and he's not supposed to be in our same category. He is a different category. And when the attraction is for the Lord and whatever qualities he has that have different application on the spiritual realm, in the material realm, those same applications become abominable. Krishna stealing butter is glorified. Makhan Chor is a beautiful name of Krishna. Right? People, these gopis are dying. When will Krishna come to my house and steal my butter that I made? But you find a thief, they get beaten up and they get put in behind bars. The same thing in the material world. It's like I and mine. So the laws are different. Krishna and Krishna's devotees, that interaction, and materialists interacting with each other is a whole different interaction, right? Like father and child relationship is different than a child with anybody else, a stranger. It's different. It's a whole different rasa, right? So the laws that apply there are not necessarily the laws that apply here in this relationship. So whatever Krishna has, we have, but how we apply it makes all the difference. Like I said, internet, money. So similarly, qualities also, right? The greed is supposed to be a bad quality when it is towards matter. But greed for Krishna is called laulyam. And in the nectar devotion, it is said we should have greed for service to the Lord, for seeing the Lord, for serving the devotees. Laulyam is a wonderful enhancer of bhakti. It's greed, but it's spiritual greed. The same greed in the material world, if you're investing in stock market, especially now, and you're like, up and down, up and down. I mean, the stock market every day is going nuts. And you make a lot of profit one day and you're like, okay, I'm going to get greedy. I'm going to invest more. Boom, it goes down. You're in big trouble, financial crisis, right? But greed for Krishna can never get you in trouble. Greed for service, there's no loss or diminution in the process. So does it help, Prayash?
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Anybody else wants to add anything or ask anything, clarify? Thank you for the heart, Harry.
Prabhuji, one question regarding previous verses.
Mhm.
Like he said, everything emanates from the Lord.
Mhm.
So I have seen some people during intellectual discussions or something, even within family, I mean, they say that Lord is the sum of everything. So basically, the universe is Krishna. But what I feel is Lord is not just the sum of everything. He is an entity of his own. Like,
Correct.
so how do I explain it to others? I mean, I'm not so keen on explaining, but also how do, okay, I'm very sure that Lord has his own existence.
Simple
The
example.
universe is just
Simple
within him.
example. Mother and child.
Okay.
Mother and child. When the mother is pregnant with the child,
Mm-hmm.
is the sum total mother? Yes. The same child leaves the mother's body. Now, can the mother say that I am, and the child has come from the mother? That doesn't mean that mother is made up of child.
Yeah. Okay.
Simple example.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thanks, bro.
Good. Any other questions? Okay, moving on. So nothing should be accepted blindly. Everything should be accepted with care and caution, right? Care, because coming from Krishna, it must be true. But caution, I should not be blind. When somebody else asks me, I should be able to answer it with conviction and confidence. That means I should understand it first before explaining to others. Shama, tolerance, and forgiveness should be practiced. One should be tolerant and excuse the minor offenses of others. Satyam, truthfulness, means that facts should be presented as they are, not for the benefit of others. Facts should not be misrepresented. A lot of times people ask me, for the sake of preaching, can I, glorify the truth? No. Facts has to be facts. If you know something, say it. If you don't know something, say I don't know. Done. No need to embellish the truth, because truth by itself is very beautiful. According to social conventions, it is said that one should speak truth only when it is palatable to others. But that is not truthfulness. Truth should be spoken in a straightforward way so that others will understand actually what the facts are. Right? So it should be palatable. Now, truth, sometimes we use truth as a weapon to hurt others. Let's say I'm very short. Now, if somebody says, Avelo, you're super short, that's just the truth. Sorry, buddy. Not trying to put you down, but hey, you're just short. Is it a fact? Yes. Is it necessary to tell me? Not necessary. I know I'm short, right? Somebody's crippled. Telling them, hey, you're crippled. You can't do this. Is it necessary? No. So truth should be for the benefit of the other person. It should be uplifting. If the truth is to put somebody else down, that's a malicious intent. So it is said that our speech should be truthful, uplifting, and for the benefit of others. If it is for harming others, if it is for putting people down, and if it is untrue, that is not the kind of speech we should utter. So speech control is that. Controlling our tongue is controlling the food we eat, but also controlling the speech that we give. That is, please remember this, it should be truthful, should be for uplifting others, and it should be for the benefit of whoever is listening to it. Okay? It should be uplifting and then encouraging. So sometimes Prabhupada would say very strong statements, but even then he would find a way to make it encouraging. Right? So that's an art. Okay. If a man is a thief and people are warned that he's a thief, that is truth. Although sometimes the truth is unpalatable, one should not refrain from speaking it. Truthfulness demands that the facts be presented as they are and for the benefit of others. That is the definition of truth. Control of the senses means the control should not be used for unnecessarily personal enjoyment. There is no prohibition against meeting the proper needs of the senses. For example, the tongue wants to eat tasty food. The ear wants to hear good music or good glorification. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But unnecessary personal enjoyment, right? When it gets to the point of, like Indra, kind of enjoyment, very, very opulent, unnecessarily out there, then that becomes the root cause of our pain and suffering. Right? But for unnecessary sense enjoyment, it's just detrimental for spiritual advancement because it deludes us into Maya. Sense enjoyment, important. Without sense enjoyment, we won't even survive. Senses need sense gratification. Unnecessary sense enjoyment moves us away from spirituality and keeps us in covert form, in Maya. Therefore, the senses should be restrained from unnecessary use. Similarly, one should restrain the mind from unnecessary thoughts. That is called sama or equanimity. One should not spend one's time pondering over earning money. This is misuse of the thinking power. The mind should be used to understand the prime necessity of human beings, and that should be presented authoritatively. The power of thought should be developed in association with the person who are authorities in scriptures, saintly persons, and spiritual masters, and those whose thinking is highly developed. Sukham, pleasure or happiness, should always be in that which is favorable for the cultivation of the spiritual knowledge of Krishna consciousness. And similarly, that which is painful or which causes distress is that which is unfavorable for the cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Give me 1 second, okay? So sorry. So what is being spoken here, just to understand this more clearly, is so misuse of the power of thinking. The Prabhupada is specifically mentioning that money-mindedness, right? So what happens? What does this mean for us? Let me ask you guys the question. So we are mostly entrepreneurs here. So how do you understand this?
Really thinking about money all the time for personal sense gratification is not advisable here. But if we think about money in order to please Krishna or use that money for like serving devotees, that can be done.
Correct. So money is a means to an end. If you're in an island with lots and lots of cash, you can't do anything with it, right? You only when you can transact money, that's when money has value, because from money, in exchange for money, you get something else. Now, people are focused on money, and it is even said in entrepreneurship, people who chase money, they don't end up making money. People who chase something bigger than themselves, they are the ones who are able to build value, create products and services that solve people's problems, and money happens to be a byproduct, right? That's very important to understand. So just being money-minded, just going crazy over stock markets and this and that, that's the crazy part. If I am going crazy over how to make my product such that it can save millions of lives, it can make people happy, it can solve people's problems, it can not make sure that there is no more pandemics that happen again, that is the right use of the mind. And for that, one might need money to get to that end, right? So understand what it really means. So money makes you go crazy, and it doesn't necessarily give you money. But when you go for value creation, that's when you solve people's problems and people happily pay you for your product and services. And that's more important than being money-minded. I'm open to being challenged, so feel free to share your doubts or whatever else. Yeah.
Rohit, I had a realization. It might be speculation. Just correct me if I'm wrong. So, like, money comes from value creation, right? Like, money comes from service to other people. So, Krishna is the best person to serve. Like, he's serving others the most, right? That's why the goddess of money, Lakshmi, is married to him, isn't it?
That's not why. Okay.
but that's how, right? So if we come from the minds of serving other people, we get that like some opulence of Krishna from about serving other people, and that's how money comes to us. Is it true, or like is it right speculation to do? I don't know.
It's speculation. It's speculation. Again, let's not bring Krishna down to our level, right? For us, it's exchange. Money comes because of exchange of products and services. I'm offering you value, you're giving me money. It's a value exchange. That's what money is. It's a contract. Money, a paper, it with the signature of the Reserve Bank's governor. It's a contract that this is worth this much. That's it. It's a value exchange. Somebody gives something, it's worth this much to me, right? Okay. In Krishna's case, that's not he is the most attractive personality of Godhead. And before all of us existed, Lakshmi Devi or Radharani existed, from Krishna's, she's called Bamangi, which means from the left side of Krishna, she appeared. She's expansion of Krishna. So it's not the way you think it is. Radha and Krishna nahe bhinna. They are not separate. They are the same personality. It's just in different forms. Different tattva altogether. But yes, if one is able to impact lives, then money comes. You see non-profits or for-profits that are able to impact enough number of lives in an effective way, not just serving, because a rickshawala is also serving, right? A product sales is also sales, but impacting in the most efficient way, and that's to that degree, proportionately, one is able to earn a livelihood. Okay, Shuli has asked a few questions. Let me see. My husband is against me praising Krishna. He's like, this is all bogus. And again, he keeps humming the song, Rasa se bhari Radharani lage, okay? Achyutam Keshavam in his ringtone. He disrespects and enjoys the ras of Krishna simultaneously. What can I do? He asked me to pray, to ask for forgiveness for his, he asks me to pray to ask for his forgiveness for his unknowing sins, but he won't bow down in front of the Lord. How to know is he a believer or not? Who cares? Let him be. People have their time, right? I thought at one point in my life that God can be anything and anyone, but not Krishna. Look at me now praising God. And I know many people like that. So it's nice your husband has ringtone of Radharani or Achyutam Keshavam. Let him hear the holy name. Fine. Let him take his happy time. Why let this be a deal breaker or a deal maker in your husband-wife relationship? You love him, he loves you, serve him, let him serve you. Let that relationship be of loving service. Let it not be about judgment of, is he a believer, is he not a believer? Why judge? If he's telling you to ask for forgiveness, fine, you ask for forgiveness and you pray to Krishna. My dear Krishna, if you so desire, you can put a seed of bhakti in this person's heart, and maybe one day he can become your devotee. You can pray for him, but don't let him being a devotee or non-devotee play a role in how much you love him or serve him, right? Let that be unconditional love. I know, hard to say, or easy to say, hard to do, but keep that in mind. Automatically, when your husband loves you and sees your unconditional love, that will melt his heart. And eventually, because he loves you and you love Krishna, he will also unknowingly become more positive towards Krishna consciousness. Jai Shri Mataji, surely give it time, give prasad to eat, all will be. Beautifully spoken, Jai Shri Mataji. You know the secrets. Experience teaches us, right? Shri Mataji is saying, I pray, I'm scared when he disrespects the Lord and people who are servants of the Lord, and less success or no success. I don't want him to accumulate bad karma. He isn't a bad person. He is against this show off. Again, surely you can't control anyone but yourself, right? So maybe what you can do is orchestrate opportunities so that he doesn't have to deal with devotees and stuff like that. Because if he is offensive, don't let him come near situations where devotees are there, or TV shows or whatever else, right? Build a relationship. You're newly married, build a relationship, build the love and trust. When the love and trust is there, what you respect, what you love will also be his object of respect and love. That's how it works. Yes, Harry, that's what I do. That's my life's purpose, is connecting spirituality and entrepreneurship. That's my service in this call. All right, anything else? Anybody Thank you, ma'am. All right. Anything else? Any questions? Should we move on? Oh, it's in 5 minutes left. Okay, let me move on to next thing. And similarly, that which is painful or which causes distress is that which is unfavorable for cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Anything favorable for the development of Krishna consciousness should be accepted, and anything unfavorable should be rejected. Right? Like in Kolkata Ventures, we don't support companies that deal with alcohol or meat or any of that stuff as a policy, because we don't support people who hurt animals or break any of the regulative principles. By choice, we don't do that. So that's what as an entrepreneur, there's some freedom there. Of course, if you are working in an alcohol company, what do? The only thing you can do is move on to some other company where there is no direct breaking of regulative principles. Bhava, birth, should be understood to refer to the body. As far as the soul is concerned, there's neither birth or death. Just like Krishna, we are never born, we never die. The body is born, the body dies. That we have discussed in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Birth and death apply to one's embodiment in the material world. Fear is due to worrying about the future. A person is in Krishna consciousness has no fear, because by his activities, he's sure to go back to the spiritual sky, back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, his future is very bright. Others, however, do not know what their future holds. They have no knowledge of what the next life holds. So they're therefore in constant anxiety. If we want to get free from anxiety, then the best course is to understand Krishna and be situated always in Krishna consciousness. In that way, we will be free from all fear. Right? So biggest fear one might have is, what's going to happen after death? What's going to happen? What's going to happen in the future? Oh my God, I don't have too much savings. What will be my old age look like? What will be? So the anxiety is always about the future, right? I know many of you reach out to me and you're like, Prabhu, I'm 25 years old and I'm not making much progress. Oh my God, you were at the age of 19, you were building successful startups. And I always say, don't compare. We all have our timelines. And different people at different times, according to our karma, according to our past. So fear is fear of the future, fear of the unknown. When you are Krishna conscious, the future is not unknown. The future is you're in the hands of Krishna. And he is a loving father. He will not let you down. He says that in the Bhagavad Gita also, just last chapter, I think. He says, Kaunteya pratijanehi, right? Kaunteya, let everybody know, declare it boldly that my devotees shall never be vanquished. So Krishna says, my devotees shall never be vanquished. So we believe in Krishna's words. So our future is very bright, Prabhupada says, because of we are devotees. So fear isn't there when one has full faith in Krishna. Prahlad Maharaj was thrown from the mountain. He was fearless as he was falling, because he knows Krishna is there at the end. He's going to catch me. And Krishna was there at the end, catching him, right? But when we don't have that faith in the Supreme Lord, then fear comes in. Oh, what's going to happen, right? And what happens is Krishna throughout our life gives us difficulties, and small difficulties, big difficulties. And through them, when we see Krishna is there at the end to hold us, our faith grows. And we grow in our faith, right? Good times, good. Bad times, bad. But we grow in our faith. Oh God, Krishna, please help me. Oh, Krishna is there to help me. Fantastic. And we grow through life. So that thereby our faith grows in Krishna. And we see how Krishna acts in our lives. He's present in our lives. Then there is no more fear. Whatever happens, one is like, okay, if death comes, if corona comes, if something comes, I have to die today or tomorrow. But regardless, Krishna is going to be there. So what's the fear? He's going to help me with my journey to my whatever my next destination might be. So I have no fear. Right? Those big teeth, copper-colored haired Yamadutas are not part of my story. My story is Krishna conscious. So Krishna is going to be there this way or that way. Krishna is there. So no fear. And that's why Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshishami masuchaha. Don't worry. Don't fear. Right? It is written on the hands of many of the deities even of Narayan. Ma suchaha, don't fear, I'm with you, right? So that's Bhagavad Gita ends there. Krishna saying, Ma suchaha, don't fear, I'm there, right? That's the best kind of support that we can ever hope for. So with that note, let me end today's Bhagavad Gita discourse. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna, everyone. See you
Hare
next.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol.
Hare
Hare Krishna.